Hi, it's Peter, and in this slightly more technical video, I want to talk to you about how I used ChatGPT to create a Google application script that enabled me to synchronize two Google calendars together. This was really an excuse for me to check out the code writing capabilities of ChatGPT to see what it could do, and the answer, it turned out, is quite a lot. Since discovering this technique, I've used ChatGPT now to generate a lot of code for me in different little scripts and applications that I'm writing, as well as some more evolved, almost production level quality stuff that I've been building. But to get the process started, I wanted to test it on something a little bit small, and in this case, I had a great use case, which was synchronizing two Google calendars. So in my work as a consultant, I tend to work for a lot of different organizations, sometimes large ones, who ask that I use their Google Workspace in order to send emails and schedule and collaborate with people. That makes things much easier in terms of my work in that company, but in terms of synchronizing with my personal calendar and my other clients, it's a total nightmare. I was having overlapping appointments and I couldn't manage my availability, and I was even missing appointments. So I had a real problem and I needed to figure out how to solve it. So I looked at a couple of commercial options, and then it occurred to me that I might be able to write my own Google application script, because I've done a little bit of that in the past, that would synchronize these calendars in a way that was lightweight and solve my need of just being able to see when I was committed on either one of those calendars so that people wouldn't try to double book me. So I fired up ChatGPT and I gave it this prompt. I said, please write a Google Workspace script which will sync two Google calendars I own by creating an event called hold in each calendar where an event exists in the other calendar. When events are removed from the source calendar, the hold events should be removed from the other calendar. The script should run every 20 minutes during business hours. So in about 10 minutes, I was able to work with ChatGPT to create this script and get it installed here in the Google application script environment. You can see it created a function called sync calendars with two variables, calendar 1 and calendar 2, which are the email addresses that I used with those two calendars. And then we have a string here to define the hold event name. In this case, I used X hold X. Occasionally you do get invites and things that have the word hold in them, so this made it a bit more unique. You can customize the number of days ahead that you want to sync. I went with 45 days. And then what we're doing is we're creating objects for those two calendars. We're going and retrieving those calendars. And then we're defining that sync window of now to 45 days in the future, the start and end date of that period. And then you can see we're actually calling this function called sync from source to target. We call it twice, once from calendar 1 to calendar 2, and once from calendar 2 back to calendar 1. So this enables us to do that bidirectional syncing in a very efficient way without using a lot of code. And this was something ChatGPT came up with. I was very impressed with the code reuse there. The last bit there is to remove the reminders from the hold events on each one of those calendars, because I only wanted to be notified in one place. I didn't want to get double the reminders from the hold events and the original events. So if we look at those functions themselves, how they work a little bit, you can see that when we're syncing from source to target, we load up all of the source events in the source calendar, and then the target events are actually the existing hold events which we have created in the other calendar. And so you can see we're doing a search where the name matches that hold event name from above. So we look at all those target events that have already been created, and we're comparing the start and end dates with the source events. So if we have a related event that already exists, then we leave the hold event in there. But you can see right here, if we don't have a related event, then we need to delete the hold event. So this allows us to keep things perfectly in sync, even if I remove or decline an event that I had previously created a hold for in the other calendar. And then we go ahead and we add those hold events to the calendar. So every time I create an event in one calendar, this will go in and create a hold event in the other calendar. So again, we're using that same set of source events, and what we're doing is we're looking to see if it has a related event in the holds, and if it does not, then we need to create one. So we create that here, and this one tries to remove all reminders from that newly created hold event there as well. And then the other function here was just to remove the reminders from existing hold events. And I did that because I had already created a few that had reminders on them, and I needed to remove those reminders. So this is a simple way then to just synchronize those two calendars. Every time I say yes to an event over here, it'll create a hold in the other calendar, and vice versa. The last thing just to show you is this create trigger function here. So this allows you to programmatically create a trigger so that it will run this sync function every hour. And then if you don't need it anymore, you can also programmatically delete the trigger. You can, of course, do that manually over here by using the triggers and setting that up here. But that's all there is to it. And I was able to set this up, and it handled all the authentication and all the permissions, and also just running the script every hour. And it's been doing that happily for about 6 months now, and keeping both my calendars beautifully in sync, so I'm not missing stuff anymore. And this was a really simple little script to write. It was a really fun experience to put it together using ChatGPT, and I think it's going to open up a lot of possibilities for writing this kind of script in other environments, or to solve other kinds of problems where you need a little bit of sort of a low-code, high AI kind of situation, where if you have a few skills to kind of put things together after the fact, you can build some really powerful applications very quickly and without a lot of effort and complexity. So if you're interested in this script, you can download it via the link below, and I'd love to know what you think. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.